Hello everybody, on behalf of DM tutorial, once again I welcome you to this episode of my series of tutorial videos. DM tutorial is a platform that provides online classes and videos on a number of subjects with the objective of mitigating the hardships the students face while understanding subjects in the course of their studies in different courses or studies in different levels. Today's topic is budget line or price line. Budget line or price line is a part of indifference curve analysis which ultimately establishes consumers' equilibrium. A budget line or a price line can be defined as the locus of all the combinations of two commodities which are equally expensive to the buyer. That means the buyer is indifferent between all the commodities lying on a budget line or a price line, so that his money expenditure on the two commodities are equal. Now, while discussing and analyzing budget line, certain considerations have to be made. Number one, prices of the goods remain constant, income of the consumer remains constant, and the consumer spends all his money income, that is the money at his disposal, between two goods. Okay, so budget line is the locus of all the combination of two commodities which are equally expensive to the buyer. Now let me draw a budget line. On x-axis we measure quantity of x, and on y-axis we measure quantity of y. Suppose the consumer has money income of M. M is money income of the consumer. To spend on X and Y. Okay. Px is the price of X, and Py is the price of Y. Now, the consumer has M amount of money which he has to spend on two commodities X and Y, and M is the amount of money the consumer has, Px is the price of X, and Py is the price of Y. Now, if the consumer consumes only one commodity, say X, if the consumer consumes one commodity, then he can purchase how many units? If only X is purchased, quantity of X is equal to M, total money income, divided by price of X, M by Px. So this is M by Px. This length is M by Px. We call it B. And if the consumer purchases only Y, that is, he spends all his money on Y, then he will be able to purchase how many units? He will be able to purchase M divided by PY. So if only Y is purchased, quantity of Y is equal to M by PY. So this is M by PY and this is M by PX. Let us call this point A. Now if we join these 2 points A and B, we get budget line. This is budget line or price line. Now in between A and B, there are innumerable combinations of X and Y, and all the combinations are equally expensive to the consumer. That means, let us take some points, say P, Q, R. This is P, this is Q, this is R. If the consumer is at point P, he consumes this much of X, say X1, and this much of Y, it is Y1. And his total expense is M because he is spending the full money. If he consumes this much of X, say X2 and Y2 at point Q, then also he is spending all his money on X and Y, and he is purchasing OX2 units of X and OY2 units of Y. Again, at point R, he is consuming X3 of X and Y3 of Y. That means he is spending all his money income in on 2 commodities X and Y, and is purchasing OX3 units of X and OY3 units of Y. So all these combinations P, Q, R, and there will be many other combinations, and all will be equally expensive to the consumer. So now we have considered that income of the consumer is given, prices of the commodities are given, and the consumer spends all his money income on 2 commodities X and Y. And this is AB is the budget line. Now, slope of the budget line is very important aspect. Let us understand what slope of a budget line or a price line means. What is the significance of budget line, the slope of the budget line or price line? So I am erasing this part. Okay. Say AB is the budget line. Now slope, this is quantity, on x-axis quantity of X, and on y-axis quantity of Y. Quantity of X and quantity of Y. Sorry. Now what is the slope of this budget line? This is tan of this angle. Slope of the budget line or price line. This is equal to tan of angle B. Now tan of angle B is equal to OA by OB, that is perpendicular by base. Now let us see what is OA and what is OB. If price of X is Px, then OB is equal to M by Px. we have done just now. If price of y is py, then OA is equal to m by py, isn't it? This is m by px and this is m by py, as we have drawn just now in the last diagram. So OA by OB is equal to m by py divided by m by px. OA by OB is equal to m by py divided by m by px. So hence tan of angle B is equal to OA by OB is equal to m by py divided by m by px, that is equal to m by py into px by m. So m and m cross out, so remains what? Remains px by py, that is price of x by price of y. So we see slope of the budget line or the price line is equal to ratio of the prices of the two commodities. So long as there is no change in either price of x or price of y, the budget line remains same, and also there is no change in income of the consumer. Now let's see what happens if price of either of x or y changes. This means if price of x falls down, the consumer will be able to price more of x. If price of x increases, the consumer will be able to purchase less of x. If price of y increases, the consumer will be able to purchase less of y. And if price of y falls, the consumer will be able to purchase more of y. Okay. Now I am erasing some part so that we can proceed further. Suppose price of x falls, price of y and income of the consumer remain constant. Okay, if price of x falls, the consumer will be able to purchase more because x has now become relatively cheaper compared to y. So previously AB was the budget line, and after decrease in the price of x, the new budget line will be like this. Say this is px1, this will be m by px1. As price of y has remained constant, the consumer is now able to purchase the same quantity of y which he was purchasing before any change in price of x, because price of y does not change. As price of x has fallen, consumers income has increased. That means because x has become relatively cheaper to y, now the consumer is able to purchase more, so he will purchase more. Okay. Now what is the slope of this budget line? This is again OA by, say this is C, so OA by OC. So slope of AC is equal to OA divided by OC is equal to M by Py divided by M by now Px1. Since price of X has now fallen and consumer is able to purchase more, this angle now will be lower than this angle. On the other hand, if price of Y falls while price of X remains constant and income of the consumer also remains constant, then the budget line will be like this. Say this is M by Py1. Since price of Y has fallen, now the consumer is able to purchase more of Y. So OA becomes larger to say this is OE. And since price of X has not changed, the consumer will be able to purchase OB units as he was doing previously by spending all his money. So OB remains as it is and OA becomes OE. So the new budget line or new price line is now EB. Okay. So the slope of the budget line depends upon the prices of the two commodities. Now let us see what will happen if there is no change in prices of either of the commodities. Instead, income of the consumer changes. That is, income of the consumer either increases or decreases. Let us see one by one. Now, shall I erase this part? I hope you have understood this one. So I am erasing. Suppose prices of X and Y remain unchanged and only income of the consumer increases. So previously this was the budget line AB. This is quantity of X. This is quantity of Y. And AB is the budget line. This is M by Px. Price of X is Px, and this is M by Py. That is price of Y is Py. Now, if income of the consumer increases without any change in the prices of the commodities, then this budget line AB will shift parallelly rightward. Say C and D. So if income of the consumer increases without any changes in the prices of the commodities, the consumer will be able to purchase more of the commodities, both the commodities. Hence, the budget line will shift parallelly toward right. Previously, he was consuming OB by spending all his money on X, or he could have purchased OA by spending all his money on Y. Now, as his income has increased and he is able to purchase more of the commodities, now if he spends whole his money on X, then he will be able to purchase OD units of X, or if he spends all his money on Y, he will be able to purchase OC units of Y. So CD is the new budget line. Now all the points on CD are equally expensive to the consumer, and all the points on AB are equally expensive to the consumer. So what is ultimately happening, you see, any point on CD is more expensive than any point on AB. That means if this is K and this is L, then K is more expensive than L. This means any point on CD is more expensive than any point on AB. Why? Because now the consumer is spending more money. Okay, you see, this is the quantity and this is the quantity. Previously it was the quantity. Now quantity of both X and Y have increased. On the other hand, if income of the consumer falls without any change in the prices of the commodities, then the consumer will be able to purchase less of both the commodities. In that case, the budget line or the price line will shift parallelly leftward. So if income of the consumer falls, prices remaining constant, the new budget line will be like this. It will shift parallelly leftward. Now suppose this is M and this is N. So the new budget line of the consumer, if income of the consumer falls, prices of X and Y remaining constant, the new budget line will be Mn, and Mn lies at left of original price line AB. So you see, when prices of the commodities change, either of X or of Y or of both, then slope of the price line changes. If income of the consumer changes, either falls or increases, then the budget line shifts parallelly either towards left or towards right. Now, one thing should be noted, that we are talking about changes in prices. This is the budget line, AB is the budget line, and it shifts to AC if price of X falls. Now suppose prices of both the commodities fall. If price of Y falls, then this is the original budget line AB, and the new budget line will be this, say CB, if price of Y falls. So if price of any commodity changes, slope of the budget line also changes. Now slope of the budget line can also change if prices of both the commodities change but not in the same proportion. That means price of X and price of Y both have fallen but not proportionately. This is original budget line. This is quantity of X and this is quantity of Y. Now here we have considered, in this case, only fall in price of X, price of Y remaining constant. Here you have considered only fall in price of Y, price of X remaining constant. Now here we are considering if prices of X and Y both change, say both fall, but not proportionate. If price of X and Y both fall proportionately, then what will happen? If they fall proportionately, then the budget line will shift parallelly towards right, as was happening in case of increase in income. It will shift parallelly. Or if price of X and Y both increase proportionately, then it will shift parallelly towards left. Okay. Now, if prices of X and Y both fall but not proportionately, then the slope of the new budget line will depend upon in what proportions they are falling. If price of X falls in larger proportion than price of Y, then this will be the budget line. Price of X falls more than proportionately than the fall in price of Y, then this will be the new budget line, say CD. If price of Y falls more proportionately than the proportional fall in price of X, then this will be the budget line, say EF. So what will be the ultimate slope of the budget line? That depends on in what proportion the prices of the commodities are changing, either falling or increasing. Okay, so we have learned what is budget line, how budget line is drawn, what is slope of budget line, how slope of the budget line changes, and what is shift of budget line. This is called shift. This is shift of budget line. Budget line is shifting parallelly, either rightward or leftward, and these are called changes in budget line. That means slope of the budget line is itself is changing. So that's it. I hope you have understood so far. We have learned budget line, slope and shift of budget line. Now budget line is considered along with indifference curve to establish consumer's equilibrium. That means the budget line and the indifference curve has to be drawn in the same diagram to establish the equilibrium position of the consumer. That will be taken care of in some other video. So far so good. I believe you understood my lecture. If you have any query, please feel comfortable to use the comment box. Your queries and suggestions will enrich us to improve our videos and online classes. Okay, so let's call it a day. Thank you very much for watching the video. Bye.